Life is full of happy accidents. Penicillin, Teflon, superglue, and even Coca-Cola. All of these only exist because someone was searching for something new and just missed the mark. Even with all the advancements in sailing technology, from radar and GPS to satellite imagery and Starlink, every time we lift the anchor is the beginning of a new adventure. While we usually have a vision in mind for where we're going, sailors know that Mother Nature always has the last word, and a miss is as good as a mile, or sometimes a few hundred. Well, we waved goodbye to Ahe this morning. We had an amazing time here in this atoll. If you didn't watch last week's video about us learning how to become pearl farmers, you should absolutely go and watch that one. But as wonderful as it is, there are always new places to explore. And we have heard about an island that is so unique, so different to all the other land masses in this area that we felt like we just had to go and check it out. So it is about 2 days that way. We're going to throw the sails up and get underway.
That feels wonderfully weird.
It's tangled in the topping lift. I'll start turning and then I'll fill it in. That's looking better. We're sitting about 100 degrees.
All right, cool. Ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
I know you hear us say this probably every week, but it feels so nice to be sailing again. I mean, in between these beautiful atoll stops, we've had all sorts of weather. We've had crazy torrential rain, we've had major high winds. Today's just a little bit overcast, but otherwise an easy breeze. I think we're not even downwinding right now. We're like 90 degrees and it's just cruisy. We haven't actually had waves like this, where they're kind of like ocean rollers. It feels like we haven't had those in months. So it's really nice to get back to that feeling of just having Indy kind of lull us into relaxation. Long may it continue. How are you coping, Kat?
Oh, this is just like such perfect conditions. It's like lunchtime, 1 o'clock, and I think our batteries are already at 100%, so we're setting off. We made water yesterday, so our water tanks are full. And yeah, it is overcast, but I'm like sunbathing. It feels like warm on my legs, and it's all, maybe we're only protected because the atoll is right there.
Yeah,
I do think we're set up for quite a nice day. We have just got like 10 to 15 knots coming from slightly behind us, and yeah, I'll take this.
Do we have any cake?
We've got one slice of cake left each, but now if we've got power and we have eggs, we can make another one. So there's this afternoon's job.
I feel like this should be a mantra on board. If we have power, we have eggs, we have cake. Okay, so I just butted Brownie off the helm because I'm excited to play and, you know, we're sailing. So I had a look and we're actually doing all right. We've got about, 16 knots of true wind. We're going at 120 degrees and we're still making 5.5 knots, which I'm fairly comfortable with. We'd normally go a little bit faster than that, but given we're in no rush, we know how far we've got to go, may as well just enjoy it. And, you know, sometimes going faster just means things break sooner. So it's kind of nice to take an easy cruise. Obviously, as Barry said, when we get clear of the atoll, then things might get a bit more fun.
I just heard a squeal and a yelp. What happened?
I was just trying to get this camera into the fishing rod holder and it suddenly collapsed on my hands. And I had that moment of, you know, is this how it all ends?
For you or the camera?
Both.
We've just come around past the end of the atoll now, so the waves have turned slightly. They're a little bit more on our beam, but we cannot complain. They are less than a meter. They are fairly close together, so it's a little bit rolly. But yeah, in general, this is a very, very cruisy sail. And so far, so good. All looks beautiful up ahead. It's been so nice, actually. We've had some really, really nice sails recently after our beat from Tahiti to get back into the Tuamotus, which was a bit of a push. It's been some nice respite to enjoy being out on the water again. And I was just looking at some photos of our time in the Tuamotus, but also up in the Marquesas and in Tahiti before that. This whole year that we have been in French Polynesia. And if you didn't see our announcement a few weeks ago, we have turned all of that into a colouring book, which you can now pre-order on our website. So we have been inspired by the places that we have been, the people that we've visited, the films that we've made, and the photos that we've taken. And we've turned all of that into 36 beautiful black and white images that are inspired in the style of French Polynesian tattoos. The book is now finished. We are incredibly proud of it, and we cannot wait to see it out there in the world. They will be shipped in October. So if you go to our website and place your order, then we will definitely get them shipped out to you in October. We would love to have them go all around the world. We cannot wait to see these actually in real life, something that we have made, something that we can share with you and let our adventure go that little bit further. If you are a sailor and you need something to fill your time on night passage, or if you have some kids and you want to keep them quiet for a bit, or you know somebody's into sailing and they would love it as a gift, whatever, there's always a reason why you should get this book. Okay, that is enough of a plug. Go to our website, place your pre-order. It's going to be awesome. Thank you to everybody who already has. We're excited. Can you tell? Got a bit of a squall coming in behind us, so we have just reefed the main, put a reef in the Genoa. Ian is still trying to tighten the reefing lines down to get some control. We're not actually that bad. We're kind of 20 to 25 knots now. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Wow, that was fun.
Yeah, good job. It's always hard work when the wind is side on and like filling the sail while you're trying to lower it.
Yeah, you end up being a kind of wrestling match in going, please come down. But I think we got there in the end. It's not the most tidy stack we've ever done, but that's all right. You can see the clouds coming in though, so I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. And just as soon as we finished putting that first reef in, we've decided that we're actually just going to take a second reef. We're not there yet, but reefing when you have to is never fun. And we can see this cloud bank building up behind us. Looks like it's going to rain on us, so we'd rather just get all of this done and sorted before we need to, and then we can always shake it out later on if the winds die off again. But we are making good speeds, like 8 knots all of a sudden, so I mean, that part's always nice. I think we may have actually timed it quite well. The squall has kind of split into two, and one is passing behind us and one is overtaking us, and we should be sort of on a nice line in between them, so we might not get too soggy, but I still think it was a good call to take that reef anyway, because now we don't have to worry about it. Well done. Whew. Well, that was your workout for the week.
I'm done.
Yeah, that's hard work.
Should probably be wearing a life jacket though.
Well, probably. I wore one on your behalf.
Thank you. You kept an eye out. At least you're a spotter. So I think it's important we justify some of this. So some of you may be watching, particularly those who are into sailing, and ask why we don't have a line that, it's called a downhaul if you like. It pulls the sail down as we reef. And that would be cool, except for the size of mainsail we have, that would add an incredible amount of weight to the sail, and also it'd be a super long line and things. So we don't have one of those. We just have brute force and dangling off the
I don't know if I caught it on camera, but at some point I did see your feet like jump and twizzle, jump and twizzle.
Yeah, it's the only option. And then, yeah, dangling from the little metal hoop that our reefing clip in would go, and then pulling down the mainsail, clipping in, and then tightening up the halyard again. So that's the official technique.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, if we had more crew, I feel like you could have 2 people at the mast, one person pulling down the front of the sail, and a second person like winching in the reefing line, which pulls the back of the sail down. But we tend to prefer to keep one person at helm so that we can keep an eye on what's going on. And then if, a massive rogue wave comes and knocks you overboard, it's less likely to knock me overboard.
Oh, it's just all about self-preservation.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm also going to say, for anyone out there who's like, oh, you should just get electric winches, then you can do everything from the cockpit with a little press of a button. We would love that. That would be really, really nice. but they cost like $3,000–4,000 a piece, and we don't have that. So if any of you out there are building electric winches and would like somebody to, you know, play with them on a boat, we'd be more than happy to work with you. Absolutely, yes.
If you've just got, you know, got a free one lying around that you're not using.
Or three.
Yes, really.
I think would be really what we need here.
We would need a full set to really test the idea.
One, two, and at least one on the mast. Yeah, then we'd be good at that point. We'll still manually furl the Genova, okay? Compromise. It's all about compromise. You might recall, actually just over a year ago, there was a certain baked loaf that was made on passage and was something resembling, for those of you who know what I mean, a Yorkshire pudding. It didn't quite come out the way we expected, and it's become the thing of myth and legend. I'm pleased to report we've upgraded.
While we were in Tahiti, we bought a new bread maker that we found in a charity shop for $30. And we still haven't fixed our oven from 1.5 years ago that broke on our Pacific crossing. But we discovered the new one has a cake setting. So yeah, chocolate cake is the new bread. Who needs bread in their life anymore?
Let them eat cake.
I think it actually turned out that bread didn't went because the yeast was a little bit past its sell-by date. But we don't need yeast in cake. So it's a winner for everyone. This is your treat for doing all those reefs.
Okay, so having taken in reefs, taken out reefs, trying to keep our speed roughly around 7 knots, we now have like squalls everywhere. There's literally this one over here. There's this big one that's just come up on us now. You can maybe make out the rain on the water. It's literally a line that's about to hit us. And then you can probably tell by the rain curtain, it is currently raining over this side of the boat. So I think 3 individual systems have just spun our wind, and now we're just heading completely in the wrong direction. So it might be quite a long night, I think.
Yeah, the rain has passed us now and the sun is just setting, so our night watch is starting, but I get the impression it is not going to be quite as easy as we were hoping for.
Well, the storms have cleared, or at least I think so, but in doing so, the temperature has absolutely plummeted. I'm talking a bit quietly because Briney's actually asleep in the cockpit and I don't want to wake her up. But yeah, I'm not sure if this is an indicator of maybe a front coming in, because usually if the storms are going to push past and the temperature plummets, I'm going to gamble that also means that the air pressure is starting to drop. I don't know if that's fact, but it's sort of proven true in the past. So yeah, we're going to cross our fingers and hope that we can make it to some safety before any major weather arrives. I think we've probably told you in the past, we don't pay for Starlink while we're underway because it's just too expensive for us. So the last weather I had, there was a big storm front kind of lurking around just south of us. And it did look like it was coming up, but we thought we had enough time to make a move. So yeah, hopefully that hasn't changed while we've been out here. Hopefully. But otherwise, we'll just keep pushing on. It's what, just turned 5 a.m. now. So I reckon I'll take another hour and then we'll switch out with Bri and she can take the early morning shift and I'll try and get some sleep.
The sun has come up now. It is a brand new day. We are on to plan 1749 of this passage. We keep changing our minds. So we actually diverted last night and completely changed course. We came up to Tikihau, which is an atoll just over here. It's the very, very last atoll in the Tuamotus. And we thought that if this system that is south of us moves north, then we would probably be wise to seek some shelter. So the plan was that we were just going to pop into Tikihau, hide out while it passed over, and then come out and carry on. However, this morning, we're thinking that the storm might be big enough that once we get into the atoll, we would then be trapped. Once it arrives, we wouldn't be able to leave until things had calmed down. And there's no telling how long that could be. It could be 10 days, it could be 2 weeks even. And we just didn't really want to get stuck somewhere that we weren't planning on going. So now we've just gone straight past Tikiao and we're heading south towards Makatea as the original plan was. At least when we get there, we can reassess or connect to internet, re-download some weather and sort of see how things are looking and make a decision at that point. But yeah, this is not the straightforward passage we thought. We have plenty of options, which is a good thing, but it's almost overwhelming when we could do any of them and they would be fine. We just have to pick one. So yeah, it's a sailor's kind of day. We've just got to wait and see what the weather does and act accordingly. At least the conditions right now are pretty calm. It would be nicer if we had a little bit more wind. We've only got about 10 knots. We're making maybe 4.5. It's a little bit rolly in the swell because we're going so slowly. But no, overall, it's fine. The conditions are so flat and calm today. I feel like this is perfect whale watching weather. It is technically whale season here in French Polynesia, so all of the humpbacks from Antarctica have swum up into these warmer waters to have their babies. And the goal for the next couple of months is to try and see some. So maybe it starts right here. I have had no luck so far, but we still have time. You're probably not going to be able to see this in the camera, but we have land ho right in front of us. I can see an island and it looks so cool. Like, we have been in the Tuamotus for months now. The only thing we've seen is like palm trees. And this is just one massive rock, a huge cliff face coming out of the sea. It looks so different to anything that we are used to. We're just coming into Makatea now and we are suddenly surrounded by a few seabirds. They've all like flown out from the cliffs to greet us as our welcoming party here. It's quite cool. What we're going to do is sail in a little bit closer and then jibe our way around the northwest coast. But I would like to see if we can sneak our way to get a better view of the cliff because it just looks absolutely wild. All right, do we need to make our tack?
I mean, yeah, look at this place. It's wild. I mean, you just woke me up and we found a cliff, which we're actually sailing directly towards, which probably isn't a good thing. Anyway, I think if we put in a tack or, well, actually a jibe, that'll bring us kind of around the north side of the island and then probably put us on a good line straight to the anchorage.
All right, time to get moving.
Ready when you are.
Okay, jibing.
Ready on the main sheet. Loose on Genoa.
Yep.
Very cool, huh? I mean, seriously, look at this. How cool is this?
So I realised that a lot of you might be thinking, woohoo, it's a rock, it's an island, big whoop, you live on a boat, you see them all the time. But we have just spent, like, I've actually lost track, maybe 4 months in the Tuamotus. So we have only seen palm trees and little bitty tiny islands that only have sand and coral on them and nothing else.
Yeah, this is one big bit of coral when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cliff, but it's a cliff that just keeps going underwater. It is just a rock that sticks up from however many, I don't know, how deep is it just off the side? Like,
I mean, allegedly?
Thousands of meters, surely.
1,600 meters.
1,600, yeah. So that's quite crazy.
Basically 1,600 to 50 meters above.
Yeah.
16 down, 50 above, so it's quite steep.
So we've got enough distance from the island, we're just going to jibe a second time and then come down the west side of it. Well, the bad news is that as beautiful as this place is, as much as we have been excited to come here, this is now as close as we're going to get. We cannot stop here. We cannot pull over. I think we said it is basically like a cliff that drops away underwater, so there's no anchoring here. There are, I believe, 4 moorings that you can take, but they are not particularly sheltered. I know that the winds are looking incredibly calm right now, but we've just checked the weather again, and in 2 days' time, the storm we were worried about is going to fire north, and it is going to encompass the entire Tuamotus, and it's going to be quite sizable. We're going to have 3 days of 35+ knot winds. We're going to have 5-meter swell, and for a fairly unprotected mooring field where there's no other option for hundreds of miles, it's just not a wise place to be. Quite sad to have got this close and to not be able to go and step foot on shore. We did think about stopping briefly, but the winds are so light that we absolutely need to hightail it to the next island now, which is 150 miles away. So, new plan. We are going to Tahiti. It was not on our radar at all yet, but that is where we're headed. So it's like lunchtime now on Thursday. We're going to try and get down by midnight tomorrow. The winds are going to die off this afternoon, so we will probably need to motor overnight, and then we should just arrive right before the big, terrifying, scary winds arrive. And at least if we do, we should be going downwind with them, so we can sort of run a Genoa only and panic our way just into the shelter of the island. But once we arrive, we will be perfectly sheltered, and it is the best place to be. So we just need to get there. Ah, plans changing. Never know where we're going.
As you may be able to hear, we have had to deploy the iron sail. Just one right now. We're just using it to help us along, so all the sails are still flapping around in 7 knots of true wind right now. But we have to keep going. Now that we've got a bit of a deadline with this storm coming in, we kind of have no choice but to keep our pace up, which now that we're out of range of the island, which is kind of way back there now, we've lost our Starlink again. So our last weather report basically said by about 4 a.m. we need to be in the shade of Tahiti. So yeah, I would say the race is on. The race is just above walking pace, but you know, that's sailing.
It is now midnight. We are still motor sailing. I think we're going to have these engines on all night, but as much as we hate motoring and would love to be sailing whenever we could, I am so grateful that we put these new engines in at the beginning of the year, because if we hadn't, this passage plan of sailing to Tahiti and trying to get there before the storm arrives, it just would not be an option available to us. So having arrived at Makatea and seen the weather, we couldn't have stayed there. We couldn't have gone to Tahiti if we were relying on sailing because there's no wind. The only option left to us would have been to turn around and go back exactly where we'd come from, and then get stuck potentially in one of the atolls there, just waiting for the system to pass and waiting for the next weather window. So I am so grateful that this has opened up choices to us, and yes, I am loving our nannies right now. The clock is on, it's midnight now. I'd like to be there before midnight tomorrow. So we've got 24 hours and only about 100 miles to go, which is totally doable. And hopefully the wind will fill in so that we can at least sail for part of it. We're on to our final day of passage this morning. It's kind of overcast, a little bit cloudy, but we only have 50 miles to go now. So I'm looking ahead to the horizon and I'm trying to see if I can see Tahiti or if I'm just looking at clouds and making it up. The engine is still going. The wind hasn't filled in yet. I am also having to hand steer. This is only a slight glitch. If you watched our video a couple of weeks ago, you'll have seen that we were trying to reset the compass in our autopilot because it was kind of getting excited and going the wrong way. Well, clearly that hasn't worked because it's still doing the same problem. So it's definitely a problem that we are going to have to look into and fix when we arrive. But it may mean that we have to hand steer a little bit more than usual, because if we leave it on autopilot without paying attention, it'll be fine, and then it'll just sort of go, oh no, I'm going to go over here now, and wander off. So our track may be a little bit drunken as we wiggle our way down to Tahiti, but we'll make it. Well, the wind's never really arrived, but we are very, very close to Tahiti now. We can mostly see it, but there's a whole ton of clouds and rain around, so it's kind of obscured from our vision somewhat, but it looks like we're going to get there before the horrendous storm arrives. Can we even sail the last bit?
I mean, we're pretending to. We haven't put the sails away. Both main and Jen are up full, and we're faking it on our way in for pride in case someone's watching.
Oh yeah, you can't arrive from a passage just completely under motor.
Exactly, it's disgraceful if you do.
So although it's been a shame that we've had to motor such a long way on this passage, the timing has worked out well. We're not going to have time to get all the way down to the airport anchorage, which is where we were aiming for, but there is an anchorage right up on this northeast corner, which is just sort of tucked in behind a rocky outcrop, and there's a lighthouse there and stuff. And so, yeah, we'll pull in there, and maybe that will reacclimatize us to being back in somewhere as big and busy as Tahiti before we have to really face all the crowds and the people, because I think that could be quite a shock to the system. Well, we've got half an hour to go, and suddenly the wind has arrived. We're making like 8.5 knots through the water, no, overground, but the rain is hitting us. So we're layering up and getting ready, but maybe if it stops raining by the time I actually have to go outside and drop anchor, I'll be fine with that. Doesn't look like it though. You getting dripped on yet?
It's starting, it's beginning now. It's just like, Tahiti is, hang on. The island of Tahiti is just 3.5 miles that way. And I can't see it. There's nothing there. And I know there's reef around that we have to watch out for, so I'm checking the chart and the satellite image. So Zora's giving all the satellite data we need in the depth. But yeah, it's a bit of a wintry storm.
I know, fun arrival. Woo! I think it is still raining, but it mostly only lasted 3 minutes and it's pretty much passed over from us now. But we can also see a ferry or a container ship or something kind of aiming straight for us just behind us here. So it's all going on.
We've stopped.
How long did we have the engine turned off for?
About 3.5 minutes.
I liked it.
It was a fast 3.5 minutes. We were flying.
All right, we are calling it. We're just coming around the headland here with the lighthouse on the end, and we're going to anchor in the little bay behind. So we are going to furl sails, drop the main, turn up, cross our fingers that it stops raining by the time I have to go outside. Anchor down, engines off, and we made it!
We're alive.
Storm ready now.
We're kind of running low on supplies of everything, including fuel. So that's us used up the last of the reserve for this last little passage.
We'll make it.
We'll make it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's not like we're ignoring a safe port haven that we can just stay in for the night and recalibrate.
Yeah, there's nothing for miles, nowhere we could possibly pull in.
It's crazy. We're in the open blue ocean. There's literally no land for thousands of miles. You know, there are some YouTube channels that actually do that. Turn around, turn around. It's just so difficult because there's no land for thousands of miles. Can I have Nutella in mine?
There's not enough chocolate. There's actually hot chocolate in this cake. No, not enough. A bit more sugar. Sprinkle on icing sugar.
Have we got ice cream?
I think there's like one tiny last bit left.
Chocolate cake with Nutella and ice cream.
Triple trouble.
Triple trouble. Which is kind of fun to say. Triple trouble, triple trouble, triple trouble.
Or alternatively, heart attack on a plate.
We lived in Glasgow.